Waveney Mental Health NHS Foundation Trust, North Essex Partnership NHS Foundation Trust and South Essex Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust as excellent. The other trusts in the region were rated as fair.
Former England footballer Alan Shearer has been named as the new patron of the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation.
Shearer was asked to take on the role by Sir Bobby's family following the death of the former Ipswich, Newcastle and England manager in July. Here's Jim Rice.
A footballing legend for club and country, taking up the reins of another. Alan Shearer posing for photos with Sir Bobby Robson's widow, Lady Elsie, and his 3 sons, as the new patron of his foundation.
It was a great honour and a privilege when Sir Bobby's family and the foundation asked me to become a patron. But it was always going to be a success, wasn't it, because of one man, because of Sir Bobby Robson, and it's up to all of us now to try and continue to make it that, but I'm sure it will be.
Newcastle's record goalscorer has quite a tally to add to. After creating the foundation last March, Sir Bobby helped raise £2 million for cancer research in Newcastle, with a little help from some famous footballing friends.
It's just fantastic that Alan has agreed to be a patron. Dad loved him and admired him as a player and as a person, more importantly. And it's ideal that he can continue the strength of the foundation.
Shearer played under Sir Bobby during his time at Newcastle United and was one of a host of football stars to attend a memorial service at Durham Cathedral following Sir Bobby's death from cancer in July. The service was beamed back to Ipswich, where the outpouring of emotion has been no less remarkable. Last month, the North Stand at Town's Portman Road ground was renamed the Sir Bobby Robson Stand, as a tribute to the man who brought FA Cup and European glory to Suffolk. Just as his legend will live on, Sir Bobby's foundation looks set to flourish in the hands of one of his biggest fans. Jim Rice, Anglia News.
Great stuff. Well, sticking with famous faces in Ipswich, it's not often you see a beach boy there, but founding band member David Marks was in the town today, raising awareness about hepatitis C. David, who was diagnosed and then treated for the virus, met up with another former carrier, Geoffrey Cleghorn. Together, they hope they can encourage others who might have been at risk of infection to log on to the NHS website for advice and to get tested.
I had no idea that I had it till I went to the emergency room for a broken rib. And the doctor there noticed that I showed a little bit of symptoms. He looked in my eyes and ordered a hepatitis C test, and it came back positive.
And Essex County Council is offering budding genealogists the opportunity to hone their skills with 2 courses. The scheme will see officials from the Essex Records Office coach people in the techniques used to trace family and build history. The classes will run in Chelmsford in October. I've been looking forward to this story all day. Earlier this week, we told you about a mystery letter that had been posted to RAF Lakenheath in Suffolk 64 years after it was written.
The letter was by a British soldier called Charles Fleming, but had no original envelope, so staff didn't know who Charles was or who the letter was meant for.
Well, after seeing our report, one Anglia viewer from Essex called in to say she might be able to help. Emma Baker takes up the story.
Jean Clucas is a regular Anglia viewer. But as she tuned in on Tuesday evening at her home in West Mersey, she got the surprise of her life when she saw an old photo of her late Uncle Charles.
I mean, I wasn't really paying a huge amount of attention. And then all of a sudden that photograph appeared and I just stopped in my tracks.
Our report was about a mystery letter from 1945. It was written by one Charles Fleming and had turned up in the post at RAF Lakenheath 64 years later, complete with photos. Jean recognised the face immediately. It was her mother's brother.
I thought, it can't be. And then I got some of my photographs out and it was so similar. It either has to be him or he's got a double. So it was just extraordinary.
Jean got in contact with us at Anglia tonight and we arranged for Jean to see the letter for herself.
Lovely.
The letter referred to Jean's mother, Ruby. The signature matched the entry in her childhood autograph book and the photos were a clear likeness. It seems this was a mystery solved. But who was the letter to?
I think it was to his mother, because he wasn't married and as far as I know he wasn't engaged or anything. And I suspect that his father, before he died, had said to his little boy, look after your mother. And I think that's what Charles did all his life, which was super.
So what do we now know about Charles Fleming? Well, he served with the Royal Corps of Signals, first in El Alamein, then in Italy, where the letter was written. After the war, he moved home to Liverpool and worked for his cousin in exports. He later married at the age of 60, but died in 1979 in his mid-70s. For the man who first opened the letter at the RAF base, today's meeting was a delightful end to a puzzling tale.
It really is absolutely amazing to see the lady here obviously reading the letter, etc., and looking at the photographs. I think this is a job well done.
Jean's now putting the letter and the photos with the rest of her family collection to add to her fond memory of Uncle Charles. Emma Baker, Anglia News, West Mersey in Essex.
Fantastic mystery solved.
Such a lovely story.
Wonderful. Well, Jean got in touch with us, and you can too. If there's anything you've seen that strikes a chord, or anything, in fact, you'd like to tell us about, get in touch.
Yep, the email address, there it is, jonathanandbecky@itv.com. That's jonathanandbecky@itv.com. Please put your name and where you're from so we can get back in touch with you as well.
And perhaps you have a similar story to our last one of the night. Now, occasionally we hear stories about people being banned from riding on buses, but tonight it's a parrot.
Yes, Michael Burdett Deakin's been told his pet parrot Houdini can no longer ride on his shoulder on the number 11 from Newmarket to Cambridge. He's up before the beak, so to speak. Stuart Leese has the full feathery story.
They say a dog is a man's best friend. But for Michael Burdett Deakin, it's his parrot. He even likes to take Houdini on the bus from Newmarket over to Cambridge. But despite the bird's obvious enthusiasm, Michael's been told he can't ride loose on his shoulder anymore.
He does enjoy his bus ride. You enjoy your bus ride, don't you? Yeah, but unfortunately, we've been told that you can't go on the bus anymore unless you're in a cage, which is a bit absurd, really. We're standing on a main road, trucks and cars and buses rushing past. You're not in the least bit startled by them, or are you?
The decision was apparently taken because of concerns that the parrot might distract the drivers. Michael has had Houdini, who's a rare yellow-backed chattering lory, for 8 years.
It's important in as much as a dog would be important to somebody that has a dog. You know, they would take their pet with them, their pet dog with them. I don't see why I should not be able to take my pet parrot with me wherever I go.
Well, Houdini doesn't really have very much to say on this matter, but Stagecoach have said that he may be able to travel on their buses if he wears a harness, but they want to send a member of staff round to Michael's house first to see if it's suitable.
So they may soon be back on the buses, if it's agreed Houdini can wear his own little avian straitjacket. But in the meantime, he can enjoy the escapism of watching the buses go by instead. Stuart Leiths, Anglia News, Newmarket.
With a name like Houdini, get out of that straitjacket anyway, wouldn't he? He's a handsome boy, it'd be a shame to cover him up.
But it could have been worse. At least he wasn't doing anything, you know, really sort of naughty. I remember a story when I was at university, a parrot that was actually banned from the panto because he kept swearing, so could have been worse.
Very naughty. Right, with details of what's coming up on the evening news, here's Mary Nightingale.
Hello, Swan.